So, rennt im Hintergrund schon mal die Videos vor für YouTube.
Ein Hilfsstromsystem, Commander. Muss für den Großrechner der Station sein.
Können wir es reparieren und wieder online bringen?
Kann man so gut erkennen, dass sie tot sind, dass ich gar nichts sehe?
Schwerer Fehler beim Hochfahren. Die Benutzeroberfläche der virtuellen Intelligenz ist offline. Manueller Neustart erforderlich.
In this particular case, what we're doing here, we're simulating not pixels and grids, but we're simulating voxels. This screen that you're looking at is now split into 32
Arbeiten beide
million
Festplatten. Yay.
voxels,
Und
which
hier
are
ist ein
basically
Supercomputer.
little cubes in 3D
Surprise.
space inside this simulation. Instead of a pixel, which is a dot, a voxel is a volumetric pixel, or a voxel, a cube. Each one of the cube contains information on the fuel, the amount of density, and the temperature. And if the temperature reaches a certain level, the fuel ignites. The fuel would ignite within that little tiny one of those 32 million voxels. And when the fuel ignites, it emits light. Okay, so what I'm describing here, once the engineers describe this scene and write this algorithm, the rest of it is just automatic. The rest of it just happens differently every single time. And so this is volumetric smoke and fire, and let's have some fun with it. Every single one of those voxels are interacting with that sphere, and as it comes close, it lights the sphere wonderfully. Look at the way that the flame and the smoke wraps around the sphere so naturally. The unification of simulation and computer graphics. Thanks a lot, Jem. Well, we've got to put it all together for you guys and always show you something you've probably never seen before. This is the work from an amazing company called Epic. This is their next generation game engine called Unreal Engine 4. Unreal Engine 4 is the first game engine that has integrated our GameWorks physics and computer graphics libraries. So the scene that you're about to see is completely generated in real time. It's generated in real time. You're going to see cloth simulators, water simulators. Look at the way that the environment is destroyed. The destruction looks real. It is real. It's simulated. It's not like a hole is painted on top of that wall. The wall actually got destroyed. Okay? So real simulation, real destruction, and not only that, really violent and really, really beautiful. Okay, let's run it. Ladies and gentlemen, Unreal Engine 4. That, by the way, is why we have to build Titan Z. Well, just to show you that it's in fact real time, the lighting makes such a huge difference in how this works. Lighting is one of the most computationally intensive part of computer graphics, and the ability for your eye to pick up those subtle lighting shades is really quite remarkable. So let's take a look at it real quick. This is flat lighting. This is without lighting. This is just basically texture maps. And this is essentially what computer graphics used to look like. Of course, you would just make the texture map a little browner or a little redder, but it's flat like that. In fact, if you take a look at most video games today on mobile devices and even on
Sie
PC,
scheinen die
they
Station
tend to be
reparieren zu
flattish
wollen.
in the
Benötigen
way
Sie meine Hilfe?
that the lighting
Ja,
is
ich könnte
done.
Hilfe
You know,
dabei
Dieses
gebrauchen.
System ist darauf eingestellt,
everything
auf den
comes to
Namen
life.
Mira
And
zu
you add to it
reagieren.
water simulators,
Würden Sie mir
particle
bitte
simulators
auch
from the
Ihren
spark,
Namen
Commander Shepard.
Einen
destruction
Augenblick
simulators
bitte.
when the
Das
characters
System
hit the
ist
wall.
jetzt
It just-
bereit
it
für
just destroys all by
Abfrageanwendungen.
itself.
Sie können
Because
mich
it
über
knows
Ich
alle...
muss die Materialien...
wall, and as a
Warnmeldung.
result, it will destroy
Warnmeldung.
appropriately. Doesn't matter where you hit the
Bericht
wall.
Ende. Haben Sie
it will
noch
destroy
weitere
it
Fragen
as
zum...
appropriate.
Ich soll alles
Simulation
abgetötet werden.
and
Tut mir leid.
visualization coming
Tut mir leid,
together.
Commander.
This is the future of computer
Wenn
graphics,
Gipfel
and you're
15
looking
aus
at it
Sicherheitsgründen
getting
still-
closer
irgendetwas
this year
schief läuft.
with
Meine
Unreal Engine
Systeme
4
werden
running on
dauerhaft
5G. Thanks a lot, guys.
deaktiviert. Natürlich, Commander. Ich melde Sie ab.
Interactive graphics is foremost about performance and make the computer graphics
Warnmeldung.
as beautiful and as
Hauptreaktor
realistic
wurde
as you
gemäß
can.
Notfalleindämmungsprozeduren abgeschaltet. Manueller Neustart erforderlich.
Photorealistic graphics is the reverse. Photorealistic graphics is about making something look photoreal. That is its minimum bar. Photoreal. And then do it as fast as you can. We've made some giant breakthroughs in
Achtung,
photorealistic rendering. What you're looking at are in fact two different images. One is actually a photograph. The other one is computer generated.
Landleitungsverbindungen sind deaktiviert.
One of them's a photograph
Die
and the other one's
Passagierzüge
computer
sind
generated.
außer Betrieb.
It just depends on what your eyes pick up, and it depends on how you perceive the world.
begeben sich
Some
jetzt
people kind of
zum
think the
Dach.
left one is a photograph. Some people
Warnmeldung.
think the right one is a photograph.
Landleitungsverbindungen sind deaktiviert. Die Passagierzüge sind außer Betrieb.
But in fact, the left one was completely computer generated. Well, this level of capability has amazing applications, whether it's in industrial design, architectural design, advertising,
Warnmeldung.
however, it
Die
is
Passagierzüge
operating
sind
slow.
außer Betrieb.
Gentlemen, today, we're introducing a brand new type of we call it the iRay
Online.
VCA.
Wie kann ich Ihnen helfen?
Das ist alles, was ich jetzt wissen muss.
Natürlich, Commander. Ich melde Sie ab.
Rendering appliance.
Online. Wie kann ich Ihnen helfen?
Weißt du,
Each
warum
one of the
der
iRay
Reaktor...
VCAs is 8 GPUs. Each GPU has
Natürlich,
12
Commander.
gigabytes.
Ich melde Sie ab.
There are 23,000 total cores. One of the most important things about this appliance is because it sits on a network, the networking capability has to be amazing. And we've got a
Verbindung
path. 2
wiederhergestellt.
giggies,
Daten.
200
Tut mir,
giggies,
gemäß
and
der
of course
Sicht.
InfiniBand.
Tut mir leid,
But
aber
what
ich
makes
brauche
the
Spezialisten.
Das ist
magic
alles, was
of
ich
the
Natürlich,
iRay
Commander.
VCA
Ich
is
melde Sie
software.
ab.
We made it possible for us to distribute the work across the GPUs within the system, but more importantly, distribute the work across multiple VCAs. You can stack as many VCAs as you like. You can buy as many as you like from me. This is one of the best things. And as a result, we can put together amazing rendering capabilities using these stackable Legos, if you will. Easy to use, easy to integrate. Now, one of the really exciting things is that iRay, the photorealistic renderer, has been incorporated into some of the most important design packages in the world. 3ds Max, CATIA, BunkSpeed, Maya. Our goal now is to hook up these applications with iRay VCA
Warnmeldung.
so that the work that is done
Hauptreaktor wurde gemäß
on these
Notfalleindämmungsprozeduren
design packages
abgeschaltet.
on people's
Manueller
workstations,
Neustart erforderlich.
when they like, they can transparently simulate on a network and interactively. Let me show you what it can do. We're going to have a friend of ours, Ide-san from Honda. He's been working on the iRay VCA, and he's going to show us some pretty amazing capabilities. Ide-san, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Good morning. I'm Ide from Honda Styling Design Department, and he's Paul from MyGenius. And this
Sie
is our
befinden sich
presentation
jetzt
talk
im
on
Hauptreaktor.
rendering the
Warnmeldung.
real production car
Hauptreaktor
here.
wurde gemäß Notfalleindämmungsprozeduren abgeschaltet. Manueller Neustart erforderlich. Warnmeldung. Hauptreaktor wurde gemäß Notfalleindämmungsprozeduren abgeschaltet. Manueller Neustart erforderlich.
Now currently, what you're looking at, the reason why it looks so real to us is because of a technology called ray tracing and global illumination. What's happening is that billions of rays, each one of these frames, simulates light as it photons as it flies around the scene. It reflects off of and bounces off the materials that it comes in contact with. But the real magic is what happens when it bounces into small crannies of light bounces off the surface, they become, in fact, a lighting surface as well. They call that global
Warnmeldung.
illumination.
Hauptreaktor wurde gemäß
Everything else in
Notfalleindämmungsprozeduren
the scene.
abgeschaltet. Manueller Neustart
As
erforderlich.
a result of that, you see soft shadows, self-casting shadows. In the seams of the door, you see those soft shadows. And what's really remarkable, as you zoom into the headlights, the crystalline nature of the headlights.
Die
really come alive.
HE3-Kraftstoffleitung ist
But you know,
durchtrennt.
you look at we've seen a lot of rendering of the outside of cars. So, by the way, this is a billion rays.
Ich bin gerade ein
Rays
wenig
are bouncing
beschäftigt.
anywhere from 0 to 1 bounce to as many bounces. On 19 iRay VCAs working together. In total, it is 1 petaflops. This demo is brought to you
Online. Verbunden mit dem Außenlabor. Wie kann
Ich möchte
tut
wissen,
mir leid, aber ich brauche natürlich, Commander. Ich
years
melde
ago.
Sie ab.
This demo would have cost us $500 million to do for you. And now we're running it on 19 iRay VCAs. Now the thing that's really amazing about this data is, Hide-san, let's show them what's inside.
Okay.
This is not just a model. This is a real car. Is
Krass.
that unbelievable? Let's stop there. Now, as a result of technology like this, designers and industrial designers could as a result, they can reduce the amount of prototyping that they do. You can just imagine how expensive it is to prototype these designs these days. And now you can visualize it and have a feeling for it because it is in fact photorealistic. And all of the materials are physically accurate. What that means is each one of
Sie
these
betreten
materials
jetzt den Dekontaminations- und
Also ich gucke mir noch nebenbei die
and the
Präsentation.
properties,
Warnmeldung.
the light reflection and
Freie
reflective properties of the
Gefahrenstoffe
light
in
Geht
der
auch noch eine halbe Stunde.
Dekontaminationskammer. Zugang zu den Passagierzügen nicht empfohlen.
reflects and is perceived by our eyes in the way that it looks in real life. It's physically accurate, physically simulated.
Sie sind eingeschlossen.
This is a light simulation. This is a simulation and not computer graphics. And as a result, you're looking at shadows that look realistic, the way that the light passes through the windows look realistic. Let's go inside the car. What is it like if you wanted to design, industrial designers want to see what's inside. Now, of course, you see the sparkles, and what's happening is that the supercomputer is trying to resolve these pixels. They're following all these photons all over the place. These billion
Die Kontrollgruppe im Labor ist außer Kontrolle. Sie sind wahnsinnig geworden. Wir können nicht weg. Sie kommen jetzt die Tunnel hoch. Es tut uns leid, es hat keiner geschafft, den Selbstzerstörungsmechanismus zu aktivieren.
What we're looking at
Rettet
here
euch!
is 3D mathematics, but projected to you in 2D space. And so eventually those photons reach your eyes. And
Hat
just give
sich
it a
selbst
second.
getötet,
Look how realistic-
weil er Teil dessen war, was hier geschehen ist?
Das ist traurig. Wir sollten nur aufgewachtes Leben.
If you were to take a look at this in performance, this is what you get. We were looking at 19 iRay VCAs. 19 iRay VCAs. And this puppy here is one server of iRay VCA. If you were to compare that, the applications that incorporate iRay whether it's 3ds Max or CATIA, running iRay, compared to a CPU-only workstation, is about 5 to 6 times the performance, 5 to 6 times the speed up. If you connected and this iRay VCA to the network, and the workload goes directly to this iRay VCA, the speed up is now some 60, 70 times. 60 to 70 times speed up. What would take a minute takes a second. What would take an hour now takes a minute. Fantastic speed up. Well, if you were to buy 60 workstations, and let's assume that you can figure out a way to cluster them all together, 60 workstations doing this work together, $5,000 for a Quadra K5000 workstation, that's $300,000 worth of workstations you have to rack together. For an amazing price of just $50,000. 6 times the value, you can now have the iRay VCA connected to your network and render photorealistically instantaneously in an interactive manner. Ladies and gentlemen, the iRay VCA.
$50.000 für einen kleinen Grafikserver.
I think it's fun to show them one more thing on iRay VCA. You know, just now you saw the car in a garage. Why don't we show them just one more demo? This looks like a photograph of the stage. And in fact, the way that this is done,
Wegtreten.
our
Tut mir leid, wir konnten...
Ich hätte das Gleiche
Hören Sie, Sie sind ein Mensch und das ist Grund genug. Einem schwer bewaffneten Gaul schaut man nicht ins Maul. Wir konnten gar nicht so schnell gucken, wie diese Bastarde sich in meine Kommandoposten. Der Aufsichtsrat schickte eine Asar. Wenn Sie erste Hilfe brauchen, gehen Sie zu Dr. Cohen unten in der Krankenstation.
Ich habe noch zu tun.
Ja, ich höre dich. Verdammt, alle mal ausschwärmen!
Los, los, los! Los, los, los!
An entire world simulated right in front of you. iRay VCA.
Danke für die Hilfe.
Greifen die...
The application of this is really fantastic. Obviously, you want to see the nature of your product in all kinds of different environments. You want, when you launch a car, and let's say you were launching one of those rare cars, pick one, recently favorite one, the Lamborghini Veneno, a reasonable price of $4.5 million each. It's unlikely that they're going to have showrooms for that.
Was?
And so one of the
Kennen
best
Sie
ways for them to
Material?
do it,
Kennen
of
Sie
course, is
Präsident
to
Huerta
render
von
it
der
in a
Erde?
physically
Ich habe
accurate
Sie
way,
gesehen. Sie haben
photorealistic
gefragt,
way.
ob ich
Das
Sie...
wäre vorerst
Dann
alles.
kann ich endlich
Project
weiter
what that car
meditieren.
feels
Die
like in China
Wissenschaftler
or
kotzen
at the
sich
base
aus.
of
Man
the
sollte
Eiffel
sie
Tower
zum
in
Verrecken
Paris.
hier lassen.
You just have photographers take
sowieso
pictures
alles
and hide
ihre
down in the
Schuld.
range, bring it back in, render it like this, and that car has gone to Paris, that car has gone to
Vielleicht haben Sie
China,
ein
that car has gone to
Insektenspray.
where those markets need to go. iRay VCA. Grid. Let's talk about Grid. GPU in the cloud. Really, really
Ich weiß,
cool
an meiner
stuff.
Stelle
Das
hättest du längst
System
ein
ist
Heil.
online und steht für mich. Wie Sie
and make
meinen,
interactive
Commander.
graphics
Ich melde Sie an.
appear like it's coming from
Das
anywhere
System
and
ist
everywhere
online und steht
and
für
run on
Medizin.
any
Kannst du die
device.
Natürlich, Commander.
Putting
Einen
GPU in the
Augenblick
cloud
bitte.
was an extraordinary endeavor. We had to solve several problems. One problem
Was? Was
is
wollen
we
Sie?
had to make it so that the display output is no
Wurden
longer
Sie von den
Sie wurden mit einem
connected to your
Toxin vergiftet.
computer and the
Ich
display
habe eine
input, the computer
Vertraulichkeitsvereinbarung
input is
unterschrieben.
Aber Sie sollten mit mir
Ich
reden.
hoffe, kennen Sie
Something you
Mira?
directly drive.
Die
Has to
wird
go over the internet, of
mitten in
course.
einem Experiment.
Runs
Diese
in the
3
data
hier
center
wurden
and
einem
comes back.
Toxin
And it has to do it
ausgesetzt.
so fast.
Etwas, an dem wir
Ich
gearbeitet
We
verstehe
call it
Ihre...
Es
remoting,
ist
and
eine
it has to do
Biowaffe,
it so fast
aber mit etwas, das eine Spezies im
that
Grenzgebiet
you feel
tötet,
like
ließ sich
it's
kein Geld
interactive.
machen.
We have to do it in
Toros,
Ganz egal
somewhere
wie.
between 100
Militär,
and 200
Regierungen,
milliseconds.
sie alle
And you're
bekommen
fighting
diese
all
Art von
kinds of
Waffen,
issues,
so oder
including the
so.
speed of light.
Unsere Aufzeichnungen und Ausrüstung sind im Quarantänelabor ein... Nein, das Toxin hat nur eine kurze Lebensfähigkeit.
Was putting a large density of GPUs and servers. Energy efficiency was really, really
Das
vital.
System ist
So that we could
online
rack
und steht
up
für Medizin.
thousands of GPUs
Natürlich, Commander. Einen
and
Augenblick
serve the
bitte.
world the way
Das
that
System
Netflix is
ist
serving
online und steht
videos
für
to the world.
medizinische
It's a
Dienste bereit.
computer- interactive
Rufe
computer
Logs
graphics. And the
auf.
third
Sie waren gerade mit einem Experiment
Als du vom Netz
ohne
genommen
mein Programm für Eindämmungsprozeduren. Ich fürchte, eine Behandlung ist nicht
In order to be
möglich.
multi-tenant, in order to support
Wie Sie
multiple
meinen,
applications at the same time,
Ich melde Sie
you
an.
have to be virtualized. Virtualizing the GPU has been one of the great endeavors of our company. Now, we felt that if we could solve this problem, it really offered us the ability to
Haben Sie meine
bring to the
Zigarette?
world a
Und sind hier die Kippen ausgegangen?
capability that probably nobody else in the world can. And what I mean by that is this. There's an important piece of software in our company called what people
Achtung,
call the device driver,
Sicherheitsprotokoll
but
ist
it is the
aktiv.
most complicated
Bitte
system
kontaktieren
function,
Sie-
system code in a computer anywhere. This is the work of thousands of engineers over our company's 21 years. We are compatible with every application that runs everything from PS, all the way to Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty, and of course Internet Explorer and Flash, and everything that runs on our stack. As a result, if we could put this stack, the GeForce stack, the Quadro stack, the Tesla stack, if we could put these stacks of software virtualized in the cloud, really make virtualization happen. And so today we have something really exciting to announce. The company that brought enterprise virtualization and turned it into an industry, the most important virtualization company in the world, is here to join us today. I'll introduce them in just a second. We have a common vision of not just virtualizing within the walls of the data center, but to virtualize from the core of the data center, virtualize from the data, all the way out to the client, all the way out to the application. In the future, because of Grid, we can now literally virtualize an enterprise from end to end. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Ben Fathi, the CTO of the largest, most important virtualization company in the world. Ben, could you join me on stage, please?
Morning, Jensen.
Ben, welcome.
Thank you.
Now,
Glad to be here.
Now, I just have to tell a quick story. Ben and I, and our company and our industry share quite a long history. Turns out, Ben used to be at Silicon Graphics.
Many years ago.
Turns out, and when he arrived earlier, we were still putting a few pieces together, and he saw the Unreal Engine demo running, and at the end of it, he goes, "Wow, that's a really good movie. What movie is it?" He just touched my heart. He just touched my heart. Hey, Ben, we're working on Grid. The thing that we're announcing is that Horizon View DAS, which basically is your VDI in the cloud, is now going to be powered by Grid. What's the big deal for the enterprise that you think? I mean, I don't know any other expert greater than you in this area, but what do you think this means to the enterprise?
I think this is huge for the enterprise. You know, VMware has been on this journey for the last 15 years of virtualizing every application, every operating system on the x86 platform. And we've taken over probably 70 to 80% of all enterprise applications are running on our stack, just like you were talking earlier about your stack. There are several workloads or applications that are not amenable to virtualization. Low latency, real-time applications, and graphics. High-intensity graphics applications. The types of workloads we're talking about here, things like graphics, are really hard to virtualize because of all the compute and all the GPU power that they consume. So one of the things that we want to do is virtualize every application out there, including low latency, real time, as well as graphics and
Hier drinnen sind keine Schießereien erlaubt.
What this means is there's literally over 500 million commercial desktops out there, and I think all of those will benefit from us working together to bring the capacity and capabilities of NVIDIA Grid to the DAS solutions that we provide. So that's what we're working on together.
You know, we've been on this journey now, and you know that we're working with OEMs of every single country, and we're in servers all over the world. And the one consistent request that everybody has is they say, look, my data center is already virtualized and running VMware ESX. If we could figure out a way if you and Ben could get your stuff integrated and working together seamlessly, it would just be the holy grail for us. And so I'm just incredibly excited about this. The audience is probably trying to figure out.
Announcements that we're making today. One is that Navisite is going to be the first service provider to offer this. And it's available today. We can get all the benefits of desktop as a service in the cloud. And the integration with the grid technology that we're working on together,
virtual
GPU, that's going to be available later in 2014 for early customer access, and it's going to be available, general availability is going to be in 2015. So we started this journey together earlier this year, and have been working together. We have the prototypes running in our labs, and the software is looking great, the experience is great, and we're looking forward to bringing that to all of your customers and our customers together next year. This year and next year.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. Thank you. This is a big deal. Partnering with VMware now makes it possible for us to finally virtualize the enterprise from end to end. And the really amazing thing is this. The really amazing thing is to watch all of these applications and just run. I mean, it doesn't matter what it really is. It could be a video game, it could be a computer-aided design, it could be a digital content creation package, an art package. It doesn't really matter, it just runs. And now, with the integration with ESX, it not only runs, but it runs wonderfully. I can't wait to deliver it. Mobile CUDA. Mobile CUDA, easy to say, hard to do. We've been wanting to bring CUDA to mobile devices for half a decade.
Mobile.
The challenge has been CUDA equals performance, CUDA equals parallel processing, mobile equals extremely low power. Low power, mobile means energy efficiency. And finally, we've been able to make that possible. After years of endeavor, we've made that possible. The first test that gave me the indication that this was in fact a dream that's going to come true is the fact that the Kepler GPU now powers 10 out of the world's 10 most energy-efficient supercomputers. 10 of the top 10 greenest supercomputers are powered by CUDA GPUs. If we can power supercomputers, which is severely energy constrained, requires millions and millions of cores, with so much energy efficiency, we can surely find a way
Haben
to
Sie
bring
schon
it
mal
to
eine Asari-Kommandoeinheit
And finally, we've done
gesehen?
that with the
Wenige
Tegra
Menschen
K1.
können das behaupten.
Now, the Tegra K1 is the world's first
Es gibt
mobile superchip.
offensichtlich keine friedliche Lösung hierfür.
I announced it
Nein.
at CES. But the big deal about Tegra K1 is that this is the first GPU in our company that made it possible for us to unify the architecture of CUDA, unify the architecture of Kepler across the entire spectrum of everything we do. This is really a supercomputer on a chip. It just runs like a supercomputer. What runs on our nation's fastest supercomputer, the Oak Ridge Titan, will run on this chip, just obviously much, much more slowly. Now the question is, what are we going to do with those 192 fully programmable CUDA cores? What are we going to do with 326 gigaflops? One of the most exciting applications is computer vision. You saw earlier how Brian was training, teaching, learning, having the computer learn how to recognize images. Once that learning process is done, which is extremely computationally intensive, is about 100 times more computationally intensive than the final recognition of the object, that last part, we download the parameters, or the weighting, what they call weights of the synapses, the trained brain, down to the card. And with these processors, we can our chip has to detect the interesting objects. There are lots of pixels on the screen. The first step is to detection. Which of the corners are these? The second is to track that feature, just like we track features.
Es ist noch nicht vorbei. Saren kann nicht aufgehalten werden. Mein Verstand ist voll von seinem Licht. Alles ist so klar.
Reden Sie, Benezia. Was plant Saren als nächstes?
Ich werde Ihnen nicht verraten. Sie werden... Hören Sie zu. Saren ist noch in meinem Kopf und flüstert mir Dinge zu. Ich kann seine Beeinflussung bekämpfen, kurzzeitig. Aber die Indoktrination ist so stark.
Resolve, reconstruct the 3D world. Understand the 3D scene. Well, the amount of computation necessary, these aren't normal flops.
Auf Feros sind wir Shiala begegnet. Sie hat uns von der Indoktrination durch die Sovereign erzählt.
Es ist schrecklich, in seinem eigenen Verstand eingesperrt zu sein. Von innen an das Glas zu hämmern, während die eigenen Hände quälen und töten. Ich war machtlos. Nichts als ein Instrument in Sarens Händen. Er schickte mich hierher, um herauszufinden, wo das Mu-Massenportal ist. Sein Standort galt Tausende von Jahren als verschollen.
Kann ich davon ausgehen, dass Sie die Koordinaten gefunden haben?
Vor 2000 Jahren besiedelten die Rachni diese Gegend unserer Galaxis. Sie entdeckten das Portal. Die Rachni können Erinnerungen über ganze Generationen teilen. Und Königinnen können das Wissen ihrer Mütter erben. Ich konnte den Standort des Portals in den Gedanken der Königin lesen. Dabei war ich nicht gerade zimperlich.
Sie müssen mir sagen, wo es ist.
Ich habe die Daten auf eine OSD geschrieben. Nehmen Sie sie. Bitte. Wir haben nicht viel Zeit. Ich habe die Koordinaten an Saren übermittelt, bevor sie eintrafen. Sie müssen mich aufhalten. Ich kann nicht. Seine Zähne sind ganz nah an meinem Ohr. Seine Finger streichen über meinen Rücken. Sie sollten... Oh, Sie sollten... Sterben.
Called the Jetson TK1. The development kit, the SDK, Linux, all of the wonderful programming tools that we've been developing over the years for all the supercomputers and scientists who are developing CUDA applications. Programming tools, CUDA compilers, profilers, graphics tools. We also include something really, really cool about all of this.
Ich bin am Ende. Sie müssen ihn aufhalten, Shepard.
Well, we decided on $192 because there's a elegance to that number, as you can tell. And I'm just happy the marketing team is just more delighted by the symmetry and the harmony of
Kein Licht? Es hieß doch immer, man würde ein helles... Oh.
That's the company we are. There you go. Thanks, Paul. Really beautiful. It also comes with this new SDK called VisionWorks. Just for games, we have the SDK called GameWorks. This is VisionWorks. And so VisionWorks is stacked on top of CUDA. It comes with a whole bunch of primitives, whether it's recognizing corners, detecting edges, or it could be or interesting features, or it could be classifying objects. Okay, parameters are loaded into this VisionWorks primitive system, and all of a sudden it recognizes objects. On top of it, there are simple pipelines that we've created for you, so they basically sample code in helping you get started on what a structure for motion algorithm would look like, object detection and object tracking algorithms to look like, and on top of that, you could develop your own application. Now this is really, really exciting for us. We now finally have CUDA from supercomputers to PCs, workstations, all the way down to mobile devices. And now that we've got it here, now that we've got Tegra and Kepler integrated together, we're really going to kick it into turbocharge. The next generation Tegra is codenamed Arista. Arista is going to be, well, really fast. It's going to be based on the Maxwell GPU architecture, even more energy efficient, even more high performance. I'll tell you a lot more about it as we get a little bit closer. It's just right around the corner. Arista, from a long line of great inspiring code names. Tegra K1 was originally called Logan, as you remembered. Tegra 4 was called Wayne. Tegra 3 was called Kal-El. Arista is going to continue a long tradition of superheroes. I can't wait to see Arista. Now, all of this technology gets put into one of its most important and one of its my favorite applications, cars. At CES, Ricky Hudi, the head of electronics of Audi, and a great visionary of the car industry, said that they needed a supercomputer to power future cars. And he wasn't kidding about the metaphoric use of the word. He was using literally, I need a supercomputer in future cars. Because that car needs to be self-piloted. That car needs to be your smartest robot. That car needs to keep you out of harm's way. That car needs to get you from point A to point B with so much joy and delight.
Wie können Sie durch sie sprechen?
Ricky Hudi said he needed a supercomputer at their press conference. The next day, Ricky announced that Audi and NVIDIA are partnering together to build and develop the next generation Audi self-piloted car based on the Tegra K1. Let's welcome Andreas Reich to the stage so that he can tell us more about it.
Hi, Jason.
Andreas,
nice to meet you.
Welcome. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Thank you very much. Before we go on, I just want to say something to the friends. Ricky and Matthias wanted to come, but they couldn't make it. I wish you guys were here. I know you guys are busy. See you guys next year. I just wanted to say hi. And so tell us about. You know what? Before we
Ich verstehe das nicht ganz. Warum töten Ihre Kinder Leute?
Diese Nadelmänner, sie stahlen uns unsere Eier. Sie wollten unsere Kinder in Kriegsbestien verwandeln, klauen mit keinen eigenen Liedern. Unsere Ältesten fürchten die Stille nicht. Aber Kinder kennen nur Angst, wenn niemand zu ihnen singt. Angst hat ihren Verstand zerschmettert.
Das ergibt Sinn. Ein Baby, das man bis zum 16. Lebensjahr in einen Schrank sperrt, wird geistig nicht gesund sein.
Okay. Ich glaube nicht, dass Sie mir die Wahl lassen werden.
Bevor du zu unseren Kindern kommst, musst du an uns vorbei. Was willst du singen? Lassen Sie mich frei? Werden wir ein weiteres Mal verklingen?
Commander, ich traue dem Vieh nicht. Wir wissen, dass es eine Art Killer sind. Der Tank ist voller Säure. Ich schlage vor, ihn zu nutzen.
Wenn Sie sie töten, rotten Sie eine gesamte Rasse aus. Wir sollten den Zitadellrat über ihr Schicksal entscheiden lassen.
Ihre Gefährten hören die Wahrheit. Du hast die Macht, uns zu befreien. Oder unser Volk wieder der Stille der Erinnerungen zu übergeben.
Ich werde nicht Ihre gesamte Rasse vernichten. Sie werden überleben und frei sein.
Es gibt einen Grund, dass Ihre Art bis zur Ausrottung gejagt wurde. Es ist besser, auf Nummer sicher zu gehen, als eine gefährliche Rasse freizulassen.
Ihre Art. Interessante Wortwahl, Chief.
Ich vertraue die Sicherheit meiner kleinen Schwestern sicher nicht diesem Alien an. Ich gehe lieber auf Nummer sicher.
Du wirst uns die Chance geben, uns neu zusammenzusetzen? Wir werden uns an dich erinnern und unseren Kindern von deiner Güte vorsingen.
I forgot the cue, you guys. Let the car drive itself in the future. For example, maybe some other random cue so that the people in the background, in the back.
Okay, I bring something with me.
You brought this in your suitcase? Ladies and gentlemen, Audi's self-piloted car. Now, there's really no reason to back away from it. I think we're not in harm's way. And so let's take a look at this. I mean, what's really amazing is I mean, it's kind of ghostly, actually. There's nobody inside.
Have a look inside.
Is there a short person inside? Is it in the trunk? Maybe it is in the trunk. Let's take a look at the trunk.
Okay.
It's got to be in the trunk. Everything is in the trunk.
I will open it.
Wow, Andreas, look at that. There's something really beautiful in the trunk.
Yes.
And what is that?
That's a ZFAS. The ZFAS is a central ECU for driver system and for piloted driving. And a very important point in the ZFAS is the Tegra K1. Here you can see a trunk.
Oh mein Gott. Nvidia-Präsentation an Deutscher, der kaum Englisch kann, präsentiert was in Englisch.
Hard computing PCs inside. To realize the environment, to calculate the path and so on. And
to calculate.
Power, it was not possible to calculate structure from motion. And that's with the Tegra K1, it's possible now.
So that little tiny Tegra K1 now fits in this computer module, and it fits right here.
Here you can see.
Right here.
Yes, that's the final form factor. And here that's the actual, it's a B-muster.
Well, this is really fantastic. It's really easy to access, and so if we wanted to upgrade our car to a Tegra K7, we could just pull it out and give it a new brain, right?
Yes, like in infotainment, we have the same. We can put out Tegra and put a new one inside.
Well, I've got a lot of friends who would just like to upgrade it themselves.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be fantastic. Andreas, thank you very much. This is, what a great piece of work.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Beautiful car. Audi's self-piloted car. Well, next time we're going to give it a much, much larger runway, and we're going to have some fun with it. So here it is. The Tegra K1 ZFAS fits into the trunk, little tiny area in the trunk, and powered the brain of your future self-piloted cars. Really, really exciting. Well, let me summarize very quickly what we talked about. We announced 6 things today. The first thing was we announced Pascal, our next generation GPU architecture enabled by several very important technologies, NVLink and 3D memories, which allow us
wo geht's hier noch weiter?
to get a huge speed up, huge spike up in memory bandwidth.
Ich wollte nicht zurück.
As a result, we're going to continue to scale the computational capability of these processors for years to come. The second, we announced Titan Z, the most powerful CUDA GPU we have ever built. What's amazing about Titan Z is not only is it powerful, it is whisper quiet and fits naturally and simply into your average PC. One of the hallmarks of Titan, not only is it beastly in performance, but it's elegant in the way it performs. And then there's cloud. We announced machine learning running on CUDA because of the torrent of information and the near infinite amount of computational capability. Machine learning with deep neural nets is going to see an incredible turbocharge in the coming years. Our partnership and announcement with VMware, the largest, most influential enterprise virtualization company in the world. We're partnering together to integrate Grid with ESX, Grid with View, and Grid with View Horizon View DAS. We announced the iRay VCA, the world's first photorealistic, scalable rendering appliance. Because of its clustering capability, because of its distributed computing capability.
Richtig, ich bin ein Spectre des Rats. Wer sind Sie?
Ich bin Jaroslav Tartakovsky, Leiter der Verwaltung. Ich würde ja aufstehen und Ihnen die Hand schütteln, aber Sie müssen mir zuhören. Wenn wir unseren Fehler nicht rückgängig machen, werden wir von den Kampfstationen aus bombardiert werden. Verstanden?
Sie haben die Viecher rausgelassen.
for applications
war ein
like self-piloted
Rachenschiff.
cars.
Ihnen befanden sich zahlreiche...
These technologies,
Diese Rachen können nicht mehr gerettet werden.
are all based on one
Mutter hat
unified
immer
architecture
gesagt,
called CUDA.
mit mir würde es
We
ein
now have CUDA
böses-
in PCs. We now have CUDA in the cloud. And finally,
Verbindung wird
Wir rücken weiter vor.
Ich melde Sie ab, Commander.
the leverage that our
Wie kann ich
developers
Ihnen
Ich brauche
as a
Informationen.
result
Die
of this unified architecture and all of these
Neutronenreinigung
different platforms
ist
is
ein
really,
Großteil.
Okay,
really
das ist
wonderful.
suboptimal.
You can develop on the PC,
Das kann ich
deploy in the
leider
cloud.
nicht ohne
You
einen
can develop in the
entsprechenden
cloud, deploy in a car.
Autorisierungscode.
The same program
Dieser Code war
works
nicht
literally
richtig.
Wer
everywhere.
könnte diese Codes haben?
Verwaltungsleiter Jaroslav
I have one last
Tartakowski
announcement.
oder jeder andere Verantwortliche von BinHex. Ich melde Sie ab, Commander.
And this one is just for fun. One of the greatest games. One of the
Ich
greatest
fühle mich
games.
gerade nicht so gut.
This is the part of the keynote where all of the timing comes unraveled. One of the
Die
greatest games of all
Sicherheitssteuerung
time
ist in der
is
Nähe.
Valve's
Sie
Portal.
müssen nur den Schlüssel
This is a game
einstecken.
that runs on
Dann
PC,
gebe ich Mira
the
den
Xbox
Befehl.
360, the PlayStation 3. This is a fantastic puzzle game. This is a game that every child should play. It's a three-dimensional teleporting puzzle game. John that created a teleporting gun. You create a tunnel, you jump into the tunnel. Whatever physics was happening before then gets carried through the teleporter. So it's really cool. You could be flying sideways into a teleporter, and because that teleporter is connected to the floor of another
Online.
chamber,
Ich
you come
melde Sie ab,
flying out of it
Commander.
from the bottom up.
Online. Wie kann ich Ihnen
Aktiviere die
helfen?
Neutronen.
Das kann ich leider nicht ohne
Really,
einen
really
entsprechenden
Well, we're
Verwaltungsleiter
so
Jaroslav
excited that
Tartakowski
Valve
oder
has
jeder
finally
andere
ported their
Verantwortliche von
application
BinHex.
portal to Shield.
Gibt es hier
And I'm
Überlebende?
so excited about this
Lady
application.
Benezia, eine
And I think all of you guys should enjoy
Laborgebäude
it.
gibt
It's
es
so
kein
much fun
anderes
to play it
lebendes
on Shield
Crewmitglied mehr.
that I'm going to give
Ich
every
melde Sie ab,
single
Commander.
GTC registered attendee a free Shield today. They're ready for you outside. You just have to show your badge and get your free shield. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for being here. This is the best GTC ever. Have a great time.
Online. Wie kann ich Ihnen helfen?
Aktiviere die Neutronenreinigung.
Das kann ich leider nicht ohne einen entsprechenden Autorisierungscode.
Der Code lautet...
Bestätigt. Code Omega wird in 120 Sekunden ausgeführt.
So, Planeten wollen wir einfach fertig machen. Kurzen Cut.